Okay.
So good morning, everyone.
Hello, by the way. I can hear you. Sorry, I was fiddling with my settings.
There we are. Brilliant. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Anita from the Business Exchange. This is Lift Off from Lockdown Part 3. We've done a few of these now, and literally it's just an opportunity for people in my network to get together, have a bit of a feeling of what's going on out there, see if there are ways that we can support one another, and perhaps come up with ideas, and also introduce one another to people they may not have met before. So there are other opportunities to do business. So we've got a real mix of people from different backgrounds this morning. The way we tend to do this is it's not a kind of BNI 60-second type thing. It's not the way we work. We tend to be quite laid back in our approach, so we can really get to know people properly and in a kind of natural way. Rather than do 60 seconds, I will introduce people at random for a few minutes this morning before Franco, our speaker this morning, takes to the stage, as it were. There we are. So, who do I not know very well in this room this morning? Angie, I don't know you too well. Angie, tell us all about you and what you do.
Okay, that's probably because I'm fairly starting my business quite recently, I think, and I went to some of your events at Camberwell, I think 2, had a chat to Sean, but kind of quite new. So yeah, so I live in Bradford-on-Avon, and I wish this was my backyard, actually, this boat. I chose this today, by the way, because I thought I like to be in a happy place, and this looked like a happy place. Yeah, so I'm a learning and development professional, really. My background's HR and coaching and so on. I've worked in big global organisations and little ones as well, but now what I'm looking to work at is with SMEs and social enterprises and so on. So particularly, I guess, leadership, management, development, leadership. And I suppose my USP is I've been a manager, I've been in HR, and I've been also in learning and development. So what I try to do is combine those. So I'm not talking off the top of my head, I'm talking about things that really work with all those things. So that's me, really.
Thanks, Angie. Well, it would be nice if we can get back at some point soon to doing networking at Camberwell. I'm not quite sure when that will happen. We will see. Yes. But I don't know how comfortable people are feeling and who's been out there to restaurants. Jonathan, you spoke as if you're working in the office in Bath. Jonathan, tell us a little bit. You're based at Mackenzie & Co on Kingsmead Square, aren't you?
Yeah, so I've been observing lockdown for the majority of it on my own in the office in the centre of Bath. It's been a crazy time. For many months, it was just me in. I was the only car in the car park. I was the only person in the office for several months. But I have seen everything slowly open over the last 6 weeks, I would say, and it's been very encouraging. I've seen lots of very sensible activities from local business people opening up their shops and cafes. In the whole, everyone's been really sensible and supportive. It's been a really positive time. I'd say the last couple of weeks, there's been a bit of an energy, a bit of a buzz in the city. So it's been very strange. It's been very difficult to sort of describe to people what I've seen over the last few months in Bath. But everyone is very positive.
That's good news. And Sean, you've been out and about in Bath as well, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Yeah, well, similar to Jonathan, because I live right in the middle of the city near Great Pulteney Street. The change has been incredible. So literally when lockdown first happened, it was just absolutely, I hated it because I love people, and floating around in the centre of Bath was actually really awful. I mean, the only people that were out were homeless people, and they were in big groups. So it actually felt like sort of Armageddon, really. It was just really bizarre. And I made a point of going out every day, and I just found it so depressing seeing all the businesses closed, all the lovely clothes in the shops, and that nobody was buying, all the restaurants shut. So it was really sad. So as soon as the Ivy opened, I was there. They opened on the Saturday, and I went in on the Sunday and had the most wonderful lunch, and it just felt normal. But they take your temperature when you arrive. There's a video screen, and you stand in front of it, and they take your temperature, which is extremely sensible. So now I just pop in and have my temperature taken every so often. I'm not going there to eat. I'm just having the temperature taken. I go, do you mind? So, you know, they really have. They've branded up their sanitizer sprays. They really have gone to town on the safety in the restaurant. So you do feel a lot more comfortable about eating there, because obviously they're mostly inside. But it's weird, but I don't know about anybody else, but I don't feel like going out as much as I did before, because I've almost got out of the habit. And I am a little bit more wary, really.
Sian,
Yeah,
I was going to ask the group really later on. I'll ask it now. With regards to the government scheme to get people out in August to go for meals, is it Monday to Wednesday or something?
Yeah.
You know, it'd be interesting to hear how many people here are going to take that offer up.
No.
No.
No, there you go.
It's like a government Groupon, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
It feels very bizarre, but
It feels strange. I mean, I do PR marketing for a pub that very sadly didn't even, the proprietor had just taken it over and didn't actually open. And then went straight into lockdown, and he's done brilliantly. He's out at Laycock, the Rising Sun. But they've created the most amazing feeling of community by doing takeaway veg boxes. Yeah. They did masks, they did toilet rolls, they did flour, they did homemade bread. And it was actually the best PR we could possibly have to open the pub. But I think he would benefit from that sort of scheme. At least the government are trying, because all pubs struggle to get people in, or pubs and restaurants get people in Monday to Wednesday anyway. You know, there's always lots of initiatives like steak night and that kind of thing. Yeah. You know, now at least the government are assisting pubs to get people back in. But he's very lucky because he's got lots of outside space and he's provided cover. I wonder what will happen in the winter, whether people will be really keen to be in smaller environments.
I agree. And when, you know, in answer to that previous question about me not going in August, but that's me, I think other people will. But I think people will be choosy. I mean, the only time you'll get me is if it's in the countryside, like I know the Rising Sun very well, but places like that where it's outside, I'm not going to go inside. So and then I use that voucher or that I concept there. I think my local, I'm in, as said, in Bradford-on-Avon, and the George here has had a clever idea of doing just weekend takeaway. It calls it date night, although you don't have to get two. And their chef is brilliant. It's a kind of restaurant quality food, and he's so clever. But you go and collect it, and then you bring it home and you warm it up when you want to. But he chooses really cleverly. He makes stuff that's quite good to warm up. But that, like you said, Sian, it's created a sense of community, because when people were, I don't know what's going on, there was that sense that you had that to look forward to, and you know, and I think they'll reap the benefits afterwards, because people will know that the food's really good, and they'll remember that they kept them going really with something like that. So.
It's quite interesting. The restaurant chain that we're working with, they're not going to do the £10 offer. They actually feel it's more work, more marketing. They've got enough just trying to adjust the tills for the change in the VAT. Because can you imagine? I mean, I was speaking to my accountant about that, and they've got quite a lot of businesses, their clients, which are in the hospitality industry, and she says they're having a nightmare. I know it's meant to help, but actually lots of these small business owners don't know how to reprogram the tills. So now they're having to pay extra to get people to come in to sort out the tills to do the VAT reduction.
I hadn't thought of that.
That's tough. Mike is from Haynes Watts Accountants in Swindon. How are things over in Swindon, and how are you finding it with your clients?
It's an interesting one, actually, listening to everybody else, because I live in Brinkworth, between Swindon and Malmesbury. So I haven't been into Swindon vast amounts. The last couple of weeks started going in sort of perhaps a couple of days a week. But it really is just a drive into the car park and into the office, where there are now a few of us that are in on occasional days. And so I haven't really seen much of the town. I mean, obviously Swindon is not the thriving hub that Bath is, and certainly a lot less pretty. But it is, I think, very quiet there from talking to. I haven't got many clients in the hospitality side of things. They tend to be on the manufacturing and distribution side of things. But I think just by observing when I'm driving in and everything else, you can see there is more traffic, things are opening up. And I think there is a general feel of determination, I suppose, is the thing, rather than anything else. I think you could say that everybody is positive, but people are determined and finding every way that they can to keep their businesses going. That's the feeling I get from the Swindon sort of side of things.
And what do you think the main challenges are? Are you seeing any companies that are looking at insolvency or as an option, or is it a bit more positive than that?
I think it's quite early. I think inevitably the furlough and all the support that's been given has helped immensely. And I think it's now a question of a lot of businesses are now going through that second phase where they are looking at redundancies and cutting back where they need to. There is also a lot of businesses, I think, I've spoken to a number of businesses who said it's not a good thing on an employment basis, but they're saying, actually, we're discovering that in some cases we're more profitable working in the way that we're currently working with people furloughed. And so that also inevitably brings the question of what they're going to do with regard to people when that comes to an end. So I think there will be, I think there's going to be a lot of redundancies. I think there's going to be an unemployment problem that we haven't seen for possibly ever in our lifetime, or possibly, certainly in the 2000s sort of size. But I think there are going to be those businesses that were on the edge before, that weren't particularly profitable before, that were, I mean, there's a phrase that people use called zombie companies, where they are really just about struggling along, and those businesses are going to struggle. So I think there is going to be a fallout, and I would say that it's probably going to be, sort of October, November time that we're going to start to see how this is really going to affect long term.
I'm going to introduce Chris Goff from Mintivo, based in Chippenham but working across the southwest. Chris, tell us how things are with you. What tech are people embracing? Have things changed since the beginning of lockdown?
So all the things you'd expect, video conferencing like this, most people have gone from not using it very much to kind of relying on it day to day for meetings. The Office 365 or Gmail, things like that, collaboration tools, WhatsApp, Slack, Microsoft Teams especially, just keeping conversation. I was saying earlier actually to the group just around the culture piece has been quite interesting for us. So people sending emails to get work done, everyone's kind of used to, but trying to mimic the face-to-face chat around the coffee machine, casual, formal thing, that's been a real challenge. So we've put in something we've called the boardroom, BORED, and that's just like a drop-in chat about whatever you want, do your work, but kind of have that casual chat. That's been, we've got an article coming up of that in the Business Exchange actually, but that's been a real kind of weird thing that we didn't know how it would go, and it's been a really interesting thing. So the tech was kind of already there, so people have just embraced using that. I totally agree with Mike. I've kind of planned for all of this to be the fallout post-furlough end. So companies that were strong going into this will be strong coming out, but I really see something happening August, September, October time, when furlough winds up, we'll start seeing what's happened. I think the conversation around offices is going to be an interesting one as well. Companies that had large offices and forced everyone to go in 9 to 5, and old school managers that like to physically see people working. I think
yeah.
I think there's been, you know, a 10-year cultural shift in 3 months around, people do actually work from home, and, you know, setting objectives and management, it does work when you can't physically see what people are doing. So I can see an interesting time with co-working spaces, smaller offices, home working, replacing larger offices as well. Definitely can see that coming.
Chris, could I ask, you say that the thing you called about the board meeting, do you mean it's your company and that you have a slot when you do that, or are you saying it's some sort of special part of the app or something?
Yeah, so in Microsoft Teams, it's just a room you can go in. So it's basically an always running video meeting. And there's always 2, 3, 4 people in there, no one in there. You kind of just drop in, and it's just, you know, you've got it on in the background while you're doing whatever else you're doing. You need to take a phone call, you meet yourself, but it's just that conversation between phone calls type office environment. And
so it's what I call the water cooler conversation.
Exactly that.
In a lot of organisations where you go for your coffee or you go for a glass of water, and then you end up, I often had the most interesting conversations there. I found out more about what people needed, because my job was obviously supplying what people needed in terms of development, and I always found it out at the water cooler and the coffee machine. That's interesting.
It's an interesting one, you know. It's not productive, it's not that good for business, but it's the cultural, you know, what companies are all about. It's just the informal conversation that you miss, and, you know, helps with mental health, helps with keeping people together. It's just it's been big for us.
That's really interesting, because I've actually done that with the children. So they've had a laptop where they've been doing their schoolwork, but they've actually had their phones on and chatting to their friends whilst they're doing it. And they've built a real community, because the children were feeling really isolated. And went, okay, I need to do something about this. And it's like, why don't you just chat and do your schoolwork together? And that's what they've been working. I think
interesting.
It's been really good. It's actually kept their, you know, relationships, and so, you know, being able to perform socially, because children have been shut behind doors for 3 months.
That brings us on really nicely, actually, to innovating and how we all are trying to innovate and find different ways of connecting. And that's exactly what Franco from E.ON has been doing throughout this process. Franco is an event expert. He's got over 20 years experience in events and hospitality, plus a further 10 years experience in VIP hospitality, crewing private yachts around the globe. I want to hear all about this. And in the past 10 years, he's brought his passion for people and love of events together, and has built the E.ON network, the Event Organisers Network, bringing the event community together across Bath, extending into Bristol, and now growing into Cheltenham, Cardiff, Exeter and Swindon, supporting clients with their event needs. And it's evolved throughout the COVID crisis as well, supporting the event community. And Franco was telling me in a separate conversation that he's actually hosted events where people internationally have joined and have been talking about their experiences through COVID. So he's got some amazing insight, and he came up with a brilliant idea to host Bath's first virtual business event, Bath Business Festival. And I'm going to put the spotlight on Franco. Good morning.
Thank you.
Franco. Hey.
And in true Zoom, thank you very much, Anita, and hello everybody. In true fashion, my daughter was about to come in and saw my screen on, going, no, I am not going in there.
Excellent.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thank you for all your comments, and thank you for inviting me, Anita. I don't know where you want me to start, really. I think just capturing the various bits that were spoken about before. But for me, there's been an acceleration in, you know, fast tracking, adopting technology, the Zooms. I've been using Zoom for about 3 years to put on some events and just liaise. It's just quick and easy. And now everybody's doing it. I think on the water cooler moments, I think that Zoom, well, I've used mostly Zoom, not really Teams or anything like that. But those tools have actually created kind of those water cooler moments where people are going, oh, what's that behind you? Or what's that bit? And, you know, and so those kind of icebreaker moments. And then we're kind of going a bit closer to the people. So culturally, I think people have created those bonds, and the water cooler moment has been kind of replaced with these kind of moments. I think in creativity terms, the events industry is hugely creative. So we're like, right, there is no event industry right now. It's died a death overnight. It's been really tough and difficult to watch businesses just, you know, dazzled in the COVID headlights, not knowing what to do. But from, you know, kind of my yachting career in a weird sense came into play. I've crossed the Atlantic 6 times. So you go from this busy, crazy world on shore of provisioning, of catching up with people, saying goodbye, having a few drinks, a few late nights, fueling the boat up, getting everything ready to set off for 2 or 3 weeks at sea where you'll see no one. And so you have the first moment of frenzy and then suddenly you cast your lines, you set off, and before you know it, you can't see anything on the horizon. It's all blue water around you. And then you're on your own. And then you're like, right, well, I better get myself into a routine. So for me, I adopted that right from the outset. I was like, right, okay, this is the new routine and it's how it's going to be. So carry on getting up. I mean, I know some people that are just not getting up and working from bed, but each to their own. And things have to carry on. It's really tough. It's really tough on the events and hospitality sector. We've all been affected. I think that's kind of in a weird way, comforting way, that has happened. And it's also done this acceleration of embracing technology, of what can I do? It's got me completely out of my comfort zone in just doing, you know, more techie stuff with virtual events and all that stuff. And I'll come on to that with the Bath Business Festival in a second. But I agree. I think it was Chris that was saying that we are going to see this kind of shrunk economy happen in businesses not needing 300 desks, and they're going to cut down to 200 desks for their businesses, and realizing that actually people can work really on this flexi time is actually a really productive way to get things going. So office spaces, I think, are going to see a big change in the big cities, certainly. And I think we're going to see more people moving out to rural places and going, actually, our business functions really well with people working half the time from home. So those are, for me, I try and see the positive things. Sometimes it's not always easy and you've got to address things, but it is what it is. We can't, you know, get COVID out of it. We just got to crack on. And so Anita, did you want me to go through the Bath Business Festival now?
Yes, tell us how the idea came about.
So the idea came about. So from the outset, I've been catching up every 2 weeks, a bit like this, but for the events industry. So we've been doing normally it was about once a month, and I fast tracked that to once every 2 weeks, because things were moving so quickly. People need to catch up. What's happening? What are you doing? Oh, latest announcement. Oh, no, that's wrong. Oh, that's right. Are you doing this? So there's a demand for that. I looked for a platform that I felt best suited for my events, and there's a platform called Hopin, so HOPIN.to, and it replicates an event, and I'll talk about that in a second. And so we did that. That worked really well. We had regional kind of get-togethers, but with the internet, it's global. So then we got into discussions, and we did an Eon Global Live, and we had people from all over the world take part, literally. And I remember them because I was like, this is mind-blowing. But we had event organizers from Alaska, Washington, California, Brazil, Argentina, every country in Europe, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines take part. Wow. So you could just see the time span that people were there. You know, it's the middle of the night for others. It was early morning for others. But we had brilliant discussions going, oh, what's happening with you guys? And it was interesting that the whole industry, events industry, was actually, you know, everybody's going through the same pace, even though countries were at different stages of COVID. But we were all in the same place. It's like, what do we do? It's all stopped. So one thing I know for sure on the outcome is that the landscape of events will change in a good way. Virtual events have been behind the scenes, not behind the scenes, have been happening, but only about 5% of events were virtual before. Now we'll see big events have a virtual element, most of them. Meetings.
Franco, are you concerned about the revenue from moving to virtual events? Because obviously the costs are so different. Yeah,
that's a really good question. They are different. At the moment, people are just trying to position the value that they're getting. The perceived value doesn't reflect the actual value. When I talk about cost briefly in the Bath Festival, but the perceived value, we're all here. We're sharing knowledge. We've got expertise in the room. So the people, the knowledge, and the content is all there. It's just the delivery that's changed. But what we're seeing is there's a drop in ticketed events of about 30 to 40% at the moment. And at the start with my event, I said, listen, I know everybody's skint. I know, nobody's got any money. So pay for the event if you can. And if you can't, that's fine. 95% of people took free tickets. Even the businesses that were, no, I'll just go for the free one. And then you had to remind people saying, listen, we've got to carry on ticking over. Business is continuing, and people need to understand that they need to understand the value of what they're getting, and would they pay for that or not in a normal world. But we're seeing a drop of about 40% so £100 ticket for an event, we're seeing at about £50-60 mark now and lots of free content out there, and there's so much noise. Is that relevant for me? Is that not? Should I go to that? Should I not? Because it's also sucking our time.
Yes, I think that's the important thing. I've run a poll in this session this morning. I don't know if you can all see it, but if you could answer some of the questions, that would be really useful. It's just really trying to gauge what people want. As Franco says, there is a lot of noise, and it's trying to find the right places to go and to be interacting the way we all want to interact. So that's what I'm trying to gauge this morning. And I think it's really exciting what you're going to be doing next week with Bath Business Festival. It's a great idea. If anyone hasn't used Hop-In before, it's a lot more interactive than many of the other options that you can use for virtual events. I started doing my setup for our booth for next week, and it's brilliant. I'm really excited about how it's going to all pan out. So, Franco, could you tell us a little bit about the day and how it's all going to work?
I will. What do I do? I share my screen, or how does that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So let me just see here. How do I? There you go. So I don't know if I'll be on screen also or not, but just let me know that if you can see the bits.
Yeah, great.
That. And can you all see that?
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, great. So it's taking place next Wednesday, so 6 days to go. Still lots of work to do, and it is about bringing people together. The solutions are out there, and we need to figure out our way out of this and support the people where we can. But basically, it's about getting the business community together. So we split it up in 9 sectors. Oh, I'm just seeing the big typo there. There you go. We've got 9 sectors, so you should be able to see your business sector, or not sector, but segment rather, so that we could involve as many people into the conversation as possible. And we will have keynotes for each of these sectors, and they will deliver the big picture. What's going on? What should you look out for? Where are you going? How can you prepare? Where can you go for resources, for guidance, for support, etc. Then the keynote speakers will be followed by a breakout session for that particular segment, where they can go into in-depth discussion about that area. So, for example, we've got Catherine Davis from Visit Bath. She'll be talking about that sector 2 there, hospitality, tourism, and events. And then she'll go into the breakout session, so people from that sector can ask specific questions. Incidentally, if you don't know, but Visit Bath and Destination Bristol are also teaming up as a result of COVID. That's kind of accelerated discussions there. Then, of course, any event, you will want a good amount of networking. So if you've not done a hop-in event, I recommend that you do. The networking function is absolutely brilliant. It's randomized, and I'll go into that in a second, but it's great fun. The expo area, and that's where people can take a booth at the event, so people can showcase what they're doing, their products, their services, interact live with people. We'll have pre-recorded videos, and then after we will have some drinks and social catch-up virtually, certainly. But I'm just in discussions just to see if we might be able to do it at Bearbrook House Hotel. So the people that feel comfortable with being outside and having a drink and having a social catch-up, we might be able to do a hybrid version of that. But we shall see.
Franco, could I just make a comment?
Yes, sure.
Sorry, it's Angie.
Hi,
on
Angie.
on your previous slide,
yes,
in terms of your segmentation,
Yes.
I kind of would say I would call myself in the business services, I wouldn't put necessarily training along with recruitment and HR.
yes.
By the way,
it's
I always
difficult.
check because that is something really quite different. So
Yeah.
so I think
It was so.
Because
Yeah,
you've just said business services is finance, accounting, legal, insurance, but I do consultancy of people consultancy. So I would put myself in business services, really.
Yeah, it's up to you. No, thank you.
Because I don't know whether it makes a difference if I have to opt for one or the other. Do I lose out?
No,
I suppose is what
you won't lose out.
Okay.
You won't lose out for two reasons. The keynote are going to be half an hour, and then the breakout sessions are going to be 45 minutes, and they will all be recorded.
Right. Okay.
So and then half-hour slots throughout the day. So you kind of got, if you imagine a spreadsheet with a time going down the left-hand side and go through the day, bang, 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 bang. We kind of got this diagonal going down.
Okay.
But thank you, Angie. And yes,
I've seen it before, and it always irks me. Sorry that I'm
No,
putting with recruitment.
right.
It always winds me up.
But you can also
Yes.
argue that you could be in number 3 in small business and startup.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I see what you mean. Okay, I'm with
trying
you.
to segment people into areas. So it means that you could be doing your emails and say, oh, do you know what? I'm going to pop into the HR bit now because that's an important bit, or into the legal bit because I need to see what the HR and So that's the reason it's that way.
Okay.
If not, we would have 300 streams, and we can't do that.
Yeah.
But events are key. Events, whether virtual or not, have key components. Virtual is no different, and they need to be around core objectives. And in this case, it's about bringing the business community together, and about communicating effectively. Every event, you imagine you walk into a venue, so you need to consider a virtual event exactly like you would if you walked into a venue. And so you have your reception area, you'll have your stage where your keynote speakers are, you will have sessions and breakout session, panel discussions that take place. You'll have some networking, of course, and there's coffee, water cooler moments. And we're there to exhibit and get business going. And so that means that we get there to meet, to learn, to share knowledge and expertise, resources, to connect with other people and to do business. Those are the core objectives of the event. And you see those icons that I've used. Those are the icons that you will see on the Hopin platform, and they'll be on the left of your screen, like that. Then, so just as I said, you walk into the venue, you're the virtual delegate, you will get into reception, there's a help desk, you can see the program, the sponsors, the exhibitors, you can see what's happening. There'll be the stage that's also there. The sessions, then from the stage, people can go to the sessions. There's all going to be the networking at the heart of the event, and the expo section. And so when it all comes together, you've got the live, you've got the breakout sessions, they've got different sized rooms, you've got the networking always in that space happening there, and you've got all the expo booths. So you can take a large size, medium size, or small booth, and at the bottom there you've got your help desk. So that's kind of visual representation. So what would it look like there you are. So those are the elements there. You can see them down on the right-hand side, left-hand side of the page. As you come in, you will see what's happening right now. So this is just a demo we're doing with a team. And down the side, you can see, you can go to any part of the event like you would at a venue. Oh, I'm just going to say we're at the Apex Hotel, for example. Oh, I'm just going to go and check out who's at the bar upstairs, or I'm going to, you can walk around the venue in a virtual sense. So left-hand side of the page will be your, what's the best way to describe it? Your, the key areas. Where do I want to go next? The center of the page is what's taking place in that part of the event. So in this case, this will be the reception bit. And then on the right-hand side of the page, you will have the engagement. You can do polls, you can have chats, and each different area actually have different interaction and engagement tools. The backstage, so that is great fun. You have a backstage area. So in my plan early on, I didn't point it out, but you have a stage door that's there. And so whilst the delegate would go in the virtual entrance here, speakers and panelists, etc., actually come in through a different virtual entrance, and they have access to kind of a backstage area before they go on the stage, etc. So this was, I was doing, I'm helping TEDx Bath actually with this platform. And then on the front stage, it can look like this. You have the full presentation. You can have the person on screen presenting. They don't have to be on screen. They can just be commentating. It can be presentation only, it can be video, or you can have a panel of up to 5 people on stage. More than that, it becomes a little too cacophonic and noisy, and then people keep interrupting each other. So that's why on the main stage, you can be up to 5 people. And then you can have the comment there. Oh, sorry, on the previous slide, the backstage, you can have a backstage chat. You can have the actual chat for people that are on stage, and then general event chat for everybody at the event. So, and here you can have the stage specific chat, and then on the, you can have the chat for everybody at the event at the same time. So that's the main stage. The panel discussions, that's the symbol there. You can have up to 10 people. Again, you can have the discussion, the polls, etc., taking place there. I've just realized I should have taken a better picture there. This was for a farming association. They had about 250 people for that particular event, and they did those breakout for specific areas of farming about COVID and how to get back to business. The networking bit. Now, this is brilliant fun. Be warned, it's highly addictive. It's like speed dating. It's like, yes, who am I going to meet next? Because it's randomized. So first, the first thing is you will click on the networking thing, and then it will ask you, are you ready? And then you click ready. Then it will ask you to share your video and your audio. So you click apply, or whatever the blue button, apply, that's it. And then you'll see a little wheel going around, and then lo and behold, there you go. You will be networking with someone, and it's really effective because it's one-on-one. There are no distractions. Kind of looking over someone. When you're talking to someone, they're looking over your shoulder for the next person to speak to, and it's kind of, this is just one-on-one. It's brilliant. It's really interactive. You then see the person's details on the hop-in. So you see their profile details on the right side of the page. You can chat with the event chat. You can still take part in the polls. And then if you want to connect with that person, oops, is that not working? There you go. A connect button appears. And that means that you will send your virtual details or your virtual business card to the person that you're networking with. So when you do a hop-in event, and more and more people are using hop-in because it's really functional, make sure that your details are what you want to send to people. So your photo, you can have your social media links and, bits about what you do. The expo area, sorry, this is slightly stretched. I'm not sure why, but people have been asking me, so how will my expo booth, how will it work? So you have the first thing, you go to the expo area and you can see all the people that are there. So these are just a selection of the people exhibiting at the Bath Business Festival. And so a large booth is the full width of the screen. So it's about screen space that you're taking, really. That's the difference that you're getting. The functionality is the same. It's just about your presence on screen, which is a difference in prices for the thing. But just to give you an idea, it's £100 to be on a large booth. Medium booth take half the page, and I think are £65. And then a small booth is £35. So really affordable. And we wanted to make sure that all businesses could take part in that. So once you're at the expo area, you can then click on the expo booth, and this is a booth in live mode. So this is, I think it's an Eon booth. You can see it there. You can still do your booth chat, your poll, your interaction there. You can invite up to 10 people into your booth to have a chat, or you can moderate it and just be yourself on camera, but people can ask you questions in the booth chat and interact with you. So it works really, really well. And I've used it many times and people love it. It's just great and really easy to use. The other mode is the virtual mode. So you can have an expo booth in virtual mode, so pre-recorded video. This is a Visit Bath one, and you click there and you can see the logo, their contact details here, and the call to action button here. It can be either straight to an email to yourself or whoever you decide it goes to, or it can be to a web page or to download a document, etc., etc. So there's two modes. There's a virtual mode, like this pre-recorded video, and there's a live mode, which is like that. And then you can interact with people visiting you. So those are all the elements, of the event. So to allow people to meet, to learn on the main stage, to share in the kind of a sector-specific sessions, to network and do business at the expo. And I just thought I'd finish with the positives of virtual events, but also of the situation that we're in. Like any event, content is king. If the content is not there, you're not going to bring people. It's really noisy out there. And so I always say to people, make sure that your content is really, really good. Access is great because now speakers like Weira Hobhouse, our local MP, is going to be speaking. She doesn't know that yet, but she will be. I'm going to get her to pre-record a video. Her team have said, yeah, let us know what we can do. She's going to be in Parliament that day, pre-recorded video. So people can just record stuff for you and are much more accessible in getting the expertise that you want for your event. The reach, as I said, with the audience is brilliant. You've got people all over the world that can attend if you want to, down to your neighbor next door can be right there. High level of flexibility. You can chop and change things around on virtual events. It's brilliant. It's kind of quick to set up when you know how to do it, and get people to help you if you're planning a virtual event, because they're really, really dynamic and can work really well. This is far more dynamic than a Zoom or Meet or anything like that. People have adapted those. On the functionality, that's bit, no environmental impact, and the cost. Venues, so we were talking about that earlier, Anita, with costs and transport, accommodation, food and beverages, don't have any of those costs. So it becomes really, really effective. And that's why we're seeing this big change in the virtual events landscape, and people adopting it now. It's really flexible. People can hop in and out. So as we all have at these events, you turn your camera off, go and make a quick cup of coffee because it's not kind of really for me. Come back in, have a, and continue the event and the meeting, and all people can attend. And by inclusive, I mean people that would not normally go to events either because of affordability or maybe because of mental health. They feel uncomfortable about going to a big event with lots of people there. It can be them in the comfort of their own homes, or it can be with everybody taking part and joining in. The three pillars of EON, of the Event Organisers Network, are trust, expertise, and collaboration. These are really, really important to me. And all the people I work with, I trust, and our relationship is built on those things. And that's why I'm working with Naomi at Go Get Organised, who've been brilliant, really, really good. And in fact, they accelerated this collaboration and working with Anita as a result, in fact. Luke John Emmett, I've been working with him for years on the Forest of Imagination in Bath, on several events. In fact, we did the balloon glow on the top of Salisbury Hill for the Queen's Jubilee a few years back, which was fun. And the Event Organisers Network, which is about sharing expertise, bringing people together and supporting clients in producing events. So that's why I created this virtual event solution. So there you are. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't blab on too much, and it gave you a good overview of Hopin. I'm doing a few Loom videos, but happy to take any questions. But it'll be next Wednesday. Anita, I hope that you'll be able to share the link for it.
I think
and happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, anyone?
There you go. So
I think we're all muted, but oh no.
Sorry.
Okay.
I think it's very much a situation where we need to try different things and really get used to them, and actually you showing us round so that people that haven't used Hopin before are prepared for Monday. That's really handy.
Yeah.
But Wednesday rather, because
Monday's rehearsals, Wednesday's the event. Yeah.
I think anybody trying to get to know new software and how it works. I've used Hopin a few times, and I'm using it for an event in a few weeks' time, where we're doing a virtual beer for our community, and we've partnered with a local brewery, Kettlesmith in Bradford-on-Avon, and we're doing that. So I think we're all trying to innovate, and whilst we've been talking this morning, I've been thinking about who's actually in the room that might be able to use something like Hopin in an innovative way that would really help their business. And then one of the ladies in the room, I hope she doesn't mind if I put her on the spotlight, is Jane from Wiltshire Heights Care Home in Bradford-on-Avon. I was just thinking whilst we were chatting this morning how Hopin could be great for you if you were doing virtual tours of the nursing home, because of safety really with people entering with infections and things, or potential.
Yeah, I have done some virtual tours, but I've used an iPad or done it on my phone. So yeah, I have done virtual tours, but it's on a one-to-one basis, and you know, we only show them the bits they need to see, because it's very difficult to do it without residents being in shot. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. I think also, I mean, the one thing I'm going to do more videos about Hopin. I've got so many people asking me questions about it, because it's really functional at the end of the day. That's, you know, it does the core bits that you want to do for an event, but it's really, really flexible. So you don't have to use all the bits. You can just say, I just want to do the stage and the networking, or the stage and the sessions, or you don't have to do it all. You can just pick the bits that you want for the event. So it's that's what I mean about highly flexible as well. It's just easy.
I think it's going to be really, I'm fascinated actually. I'd never heard of Hopin. I run conferences and leadership conferences. So in fact, I was running one in Bath on March the 19th.
Oh, just in time.
No, I didn't do it. I couldn't do it. If it had been the 13th, it would have run. I had to cancel everything.
Yeah.
Because it was just the essential travel kicked in, and they were coming from Portsmouth, Falmouth, or all over. So I had to, but I postponed it to November. And the reason I'm saying this is, in theory, and it's a residential one in a hotel in Bath, and there's 40 people. So in theory, I'm postponing it till then, and everyone was really pleased because they were disappointed they couldn't come.
Yeah.
But I hadn't. But of course, I'm in, like everyone else, wondering if it will run. Because I've been contacting the hotel, they're still in business. That was the first question.
Yeah.
A lot of them are going out of business.
Where are you holding it?
At Balebrook, actually, you just mentioned Balebrook.
Yeah, they're great. Russell,
absolutely
they're great
brilliant. I've been working with them for over a decade. This course has been run.
Yeah.
It's for managers and so on. And I'm just but I keep thinking, what if there's a second wave? What if there's this? What if there's such and such? And what you've been presenting is very interesting, because I've always wondered whether I might need to end up doing it in a virtual way, or should I be doing some of this virtually before the event anyway, because I want to get back in contact with these people who've been working away and forgotten all these things. So thank you, it's very interesting.
Pleasure. And you've planned events, so I don't want to. I'm sure you know all this before, but you can plan for the worst and hope for the best. And so you plan a virtual event, because that's a great thing. You can still hold your event. So we've got to get to November and they said, okay, social distancing, we've got a second wave coming. Hotel use is okay. You've got social distancing that can take place at the hotel, in the big ballroom. But you can also augment. So for the people that don't feel comfortable going to the event, there will be some, and they'll be, I need to stay at home because I'm vulnerable, or
I've got two who are pregnant now, so they can't come.
Yeah. But they'll now be able to attend your event.
Yeah.
And that's the bit about accessibility. And not only that, but you can have a much bigger reach. So people can attend in person, but in terms of cost, that's going to be where you're going to be trying to explain to people that the value they're going to get is going to be, 90% of the way there. There are other ways. There's clever ways. Actually, I was talking to a colleague of mine, and she's doing virtual events. The difficult bit is those water cooler moments, sharing an experience, that's proximity and all that stuff. And they did an event, and so people are doing wine tastings and food tastings and things like that. And what she did is they sent a box to, I think it was 100 clients, wine and chocolate. Oh, actually, this is one we're discussing about doing one. Wine, chocolate, and maybe wine, cheese, and chocolate tasting. You're not allowed to open the box until the said moment during the event. And then everybody on screen opens the box. There's a letter from the MD there, personalized. And then everybody opens at the same time. They're tasting, they're smelling, the excitement is happening at the same time. And so even though it's on screen, you suddenly feel, and that's the big thing. The virtual thing is difficult to feel.
Yes.
And that's, bringing all the senses in. So the only thing you're not getting is pressing the flesh, saying hello to the person, hugging them, or having a laugh, patting them on the back. But the other bits are there: the content, the environment, the other people, the network, the industry, the smell, feel, taste. So you can actually make a virtual experience really, really quite tangible.
I'm looking to host a mixed event for our Tech Awards this year. They were due to be held on the 21st of May. And sadly, we had to say, sorry, but what we've done to keep the competition alive is make sure that people can still enter. So we've got the competition open until the 1st of September.
Right.
And then the idea is those that are comfortable can attend an event in person, and those that can't attend will do something like using Hopin as an opportunity to experiment with new technology and for people to have more of an experience.
So for that, so I was talking about an awards ceremony with a client, and we're using the breakout sessions as the round table of that company. So say that you've got 10 people or 50 or 500 of that company, they can be in their own breakout sessions. And then the award goes to, on the main stage, bang, we've won. Hey, we've won. So you've got the people in the room that are together in those breakout sessions. They can all be together. And then they go to the main stage, they get the prize. Yay, really pleased, congratulations. And it can be a virtual prize. You can get your beer company, say, there you go, sponsored by the beer company. Have your beer together, celebration. So you can do these things in a virtual sense. And it's getting people to understand that there's a big change in this event landscape. Now it's really opened, but you also need to balance that with dazzling people, with content and technology that can be overcomplicated. And that's why I chose Hopin, because it's simple. Reception, main stage, sessions, networking, expo, bang, really simple. And people need to embrace that. There's amazing stuff. And the other thing people get mixed up is about hybrid events. A hybrid event is not an in-person event and a virtual element. A hybrid event is a mix of different parts coming together. So it could be just this, and then I bring in maybe Glisser or Slido for a poll that comes in. That becomes hybrid. It can be in person with Hopin and Slido or other technology that's out there, or Loom videos or things like that. So it's mixing these technologies, but in a way that makes the experience, enriches experience without complicating it. And that's really key. Keep it simple and keep the content king.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that I really like it, actually. Thanks for showing. I'm definitely going to register, but I think this kind of, it's interesting. I work in IT, so I'm kind of always up for embracing technology. So maybe slightly easier for me than some. But I always think this is great for kind of introvert people. I'm naturally quite introverted. So I really have to want to go to an event to want to go and see people in person. So this, I think, opens up a lot of avenues of event types, things for people that aren't naturally extrovert, but also means that organisers like yourself kind of have to really have the bar quite high on the content, because you lose the face-to-face. So it kind of, I can see this, everyone's got to adapt to this and get used to it. I think this is going to become more normal, but I'm also excited that this kind of raises the bar for events, opens it up to a lot more people that wouldn't naturally attend an in-person event, and also means you can kind of go on your own terms. So I can select where I go, I can select the information I see, the people I speak to. I really like it, and I'm going to embrace it, and I think it's the future. So
I think so too. There are definitely, I choose Hopin. So another thing that I say to my clients is your event should dictate the venue that you choose. Okay, it's not the other way around. You don't have, oh, I love that venue, let's do an event there. Your event must dictate the venue that you choose. And in virtual sense, you have to choose the right platform that suits your event, not the other way around. And so for me, Hopin is the right vehicle for my events of bringing people together and doing this networking expo conference side. And the other important thing about them is they are pre-COVID business. They identified this need 3 years ago. And set up, we need to get something really nice under one roof where you can bring everything together, as opposed to a lot of the tech that's coming out now. And we're seeing more and more tech that's coming out that is kind of a knee-jerk reaction, adapting, pivoting, which is fair enough and might be brilliant. But they identified the need, they created a solution bespoke for that. And that means that all the bugs are out of the way, it works well. There's other good ones. There's a good one in America called Engage Z, with engage with a Z at the end. I've not looked into that yet, but sometimes Zoom is perfect for this kind of meetings. It's fine, or Meets or Teams, but we're also seeing in the events industry an element of Zoom fatigue.
I think that's the challenge now, that we're all online all the time, and you're not having that human interaction, and it's like, oh, it's another Zoom, so it's how we can make things really different. So it's exciting that Bath Business Festival is going to be a great showcase and lead the way in the Southwest. I know. Well done, Franco.
Thank you. I'm really excited about it, and I'd invite you all to come along, even if you can pop in for networking or just to check it out or walk around the venue.
I put the link at the beginning of today's chat. So if you want to register, there's various ways, whether you want to exhibit or just attend and do the networking a bit. So just do click on the link or connect with Franco after this. I'm aware that's 9:30 and we've all got busy days ahead of us. I'm particularly excited because I'm going to have my hair cut.
Hey!
Hallelujah, at last. But it's great to see you all this morning. If you could answer the poll questions before you depart, that would be really useful. And then we'll determine if we're going to do a lift off from lockdown again in August. Hopefully I will see you next Wednesday, the 22nd of July at Bath Business Festival. If not, I hope you've had a great morning, and if you are all comfortable, if you could just say a yes or a no, or say if you're not perhaps in the chat with sharing your details after this meeting. We're not a really salesy group, it's all natural relationships that are built, so please don't go straight in if you're emailing someone with, I would love you to buy this, it's not the way we okay. But
I'll put my email in the thing as well, so people have got it there.
Yeah.
At eongroup.co.uk.
Brilliant. Thank you. Well, Have a positive day, everyone, and
Yeah.
look forward to catching up soon.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you,
everyone.
Anita.
Right, take care.
Have a brilliant day. Bye. Hi, Les.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.